Emily, welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to talk to you today and to just get to know you, get to know your story, and all that like exciting stuff. But before we like dive into all of that, because my Scorpio rising is gonna go right in. But before we do that, why don't you introduce yourself, talk about your story and, how you got to where you are today and your like love for astrology and how that came about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Yasmin, for having me on your podcast. I've been really looking forward to this one because I know that it's going to be more of a conversational chat about astrology and reality. So,
Yes. Yes.
really keen and grateful. To introduce myself to everyone who hasn't seen me before, my name's Amelie Gillera, and I am known as a true sidereal astrologer. We'll get into the meaning behind that. Sounds pretty complicated, but promise it's not. Um, and I actually live in Australia, so I'm an Australian, and I guess I got into astrology in my later teen years.
Mhm.
Growing up, I didn't actually really think too much of it.
Mhm.
I suppose I was more on the brainwash side or just the ignorant side of it, where all I knew was my friends in high school or people saying, "Oh, what's your zodiac sign?" And I thought, how can you fit all the people on Earth into 12 categories? That doesn't make any sense. So I never really looked too deeply into it, kind of just skimmed over it. But for me, it was really when I actually, I guess, dove deep down some rabbit holes.
Mhm.
And I it was a phase where, I kind of woke up, let's just use the year 2020 was actually the year. We all know what
Mhm.
was going on then.
God.
And that triggered my path of truth seeking. So I didn't want to just stop at the matrix level,
Yeah.
truth seeking within politics and the matrix system. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to get into the occult knowledge, esoteric symbolism,
Mhm.
um, and ancient scriptures, particularly. And it was actually when I was diving deep into an alternative perspective on particularly the Bible that I started to notice like a lot of astrotheological concepts
Mm.
in the Bible that seems to have been swept away or hidden. And
Mhm.
especially when you hear that, oh, a lot of books have been removed from the Bible.
Yeah, they
And I
have.
started to actually research into some of those and noticed, okay, now there's even more obvious astrological and astrotheological connotations in there.
Right.
So then I would look into some other books like the Vedas, the Nag Hammadi Library, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and you would just see over and over again that these people from the past were obviously very advanced,
Hmm.
probably more advanced than us today,
Yeah.
definitely. And they absolutely did have knowledge and awareness of the cosmos. And so from like slowly diving in, looking at some ancient architecture, realizing that many of them are built in alignment or like precise precision with certain fixed stars and solstices, etc. It was becoming undeniable to me that there's something more to astrology.
Yeah.
But the first kind of dipping my toes in, I searched up my tropical chart on Cafe
Mm.
Astrology,
Hmm.
and that's coming up with, okay, my dominant element is very much earth and water, and just obviously very different archetypes
Right.
to my true sidereal chart, which I didn't really resonate with. Obviously, there were some things where I could be like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. But all in all, I was like, oh, maybe they didn't utilize it for personality and psychology analysis because it
Right.
didn't really seem to fit me. Until I was just watching along some YouTube videos and eventually I came across Vedic astrology. And
Mm.
then I was thinking, oh, so what's the difference between Vedic and tropical?
Yeah.
And I suppose now's the point where I know I said this is going to be conversational. I don't want to
No,
take
I
the
love that. No. I love this. I like love hearing your story and how you've gotten to this point, how you've peeled back these layers. And
Yeah.
just the fact that you were willing to be like, what else is here, with astrology? Like,
Mm.
how else can I learn about myself? Or how can I be more open-minded to this? Because the thing with astrology is people are very closed-minded. and they
Yeah.
immediately, push it out. And I get it. I've been there also, just like you. We've both been there where we're just like, I don't really this. I'm skeptical. I don't really understand this. I don't really believe in it. And usually we don't believe in things because we don't fully understand them, right? That's why we don't
Exactly.
actually believe in it. We're not doing that research that's necessary to like really
Yeah.
understand a specific topic. Once you do that research, that's when things start to shift. So I love, 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 love that you were able to do that, because
Thank
like
you.
you peeled back another layer of yourself. And that's alchemy at the end of the day.
Exactly. It's so much easier to just take what your teacher told you in high school or what the media tells you and not look any further. And that's why a lot of people are very ignorant towards astrology. And there's a definite agenda towards that to make sure
Yeah.
that the majority of people are either ignorant towards it or they're veered on the incorrect path of tropical, which
Yes.
um, in my opinion, like even I have taken a very open-minded approach to look into tropical astrology and to
Yes.
try and see from a perspective of, oh, maybe there is some, where
True.
you can
Yeah.
you can read one person with two charts, but no, like I kind of came to the conclusion that it just doesn't make any sense. And I'll tell you why.
Yes. I was just gonna say, please get into that. Like, why is
Yes.
that? And why do some people resonate with like their tropical? Like some people say, oh, I'm not into sidereal because it doesn't make sense to me. Like, what's going on there?
Yes. So when you associate with your tropical chart, and if you're curious about astrology, you can very much like hook anything as your identity. You can really take it on as a persona or a personality.
Yes. Yes.
And obviously, there's going to be a lot of identity crisis if you're really attached to one identity and you try to switch to another one, even if this is the authentic you. And I
Yes.
think that within your true sidereal chart, that's going to be showing you a lot more about your soul's journey, your higher self, a lot of the true aspects of yourself. Whereas you could resonate to your tropical chart, but I think it's more of like a matrix archetype and matrix personality. It's very 3D,
Yeah.
whereas I think your true sidereal chart is very ascended. There's
Mhm. Of
obviously matrix programs within it that are lower negative
course.
limitations. But
Yeah.
the layer below, when you dig through that, you can see the aspects of yourself, like the wisdom you were born with, the knowledge you've brought into this lifetime from previous experiences. And to explain tropical astrology versus true sidereal for anyone who hasn't heard of it before,
Yeah.
tropical astrology is a system that is set in time in 1 BC when the constellations actually aligned with the four
Mhm.
seasons of the year.
Yeah.
So that's how you get Aries on the spring equinox.
Right. Right.
And they say that it's just fixed there. But when you do this, you're locking a ever-moving cosmos and freezing it,
Mhm.
essentially. So when you follow tropical astrology, you're discounting the natural precession of the equinox.
Right.
And so that's the idea that even the spring equinox does shift. So it's not
Yeah.
always going to be in Aries forever.
Right.
At the moment, like it still kind of is. But the idea is that when the equinox shifts, that's moving at a rate of 1 degree every 72 years.
Right.
Interestingly, that's like the average lifespan of a human. So it's almost
Yeah,
like
that's interesting.
our biology doesn't even allow us to witness it in our lifetime. So it's very
Wow.
easy for humanity to uh, disregard
Right.
that movement and kind of not realize it. But when
Okay.
you do keep track, then you realize that, okay, if it's been, as chronology says,
Right.
2024 years or
Yeah.
so, then the constellations have shifted about 28 degrees. And
Mm,
so that's how when you search up, either the 13 sign zodiac or sidereal astrology, you're like,
yeah.
oh, well, that means that my sun sign is the sign previous. It's a different sign.
Yeah.
So the reason that the true sidereal model works so well is because you don't need a computer, you don't need pieces of paper, you just need to look at the stars.
Exactly.
And that's the most natural way of observing the actual visible stars, planets,
Right.
constellation. So
Yeah.
that's what it makes more sense that when we look at the stars and planets as what they are, which is energetic bodies
Yes.
and frequencies,
Yes.
depending on how deep you go, but
Right, right, right. Totally.
they
Yeah.
have, yeah, they have influence on us because they resonate energetically with us, not because they're gas balls that you can
Yes,
land on.
yes, exactly. Absolutely, love. Absolutely. And I also want to add that like each planet also governs like your a part of your body as well in medical astrology,
Exactly.
right? I'm so into that. I find that so fascinating. And
Yeah.
like really dive deep into that, we understand how we really are made of that, right? Like we are one with the
Hmm.
stars. We truly are. We are one
Exactly.
with that nature and it exists within, you know? So being able to
100%.
like listen to this and like listen to that wisdom is so important.
Exactly. Because a lot of people just they say that, oh, the zodiac is BS, it doesn't matter. But I'm like, you literally are the zodiac. There's no separation between you because when you look into medical astrology, which previously, I mean, the still the same medical oath is the one of Hippocrates.
Yes.
And he also said that a physician without knowledge of astrology is not a real physician. They always utilize knowledge of the cosmos because ideally, you don't want to be performing surgeries on the wrong phase of the moon because that's when the moon rules fluids and it's going to be more likely to bleed out and certain things. So
Right.
there's ways that they would actually integrate knowledge of the cosmos in their medical practices. And that
Right.
medical astrology was known as iatromathematics. So
Mm.
it was a whole subject that was compulsory in university that they have
Yeah.
completely disregarded.
Yeah.
And the 12 zodiac signs also resonate with each one of the essential tissue salts of the body.
Yeah.
So that's how you get Aries rules it's the ram with like
Yeah.
the horns.
Yeah.
And I think it's the hippocampus in our brain
Yeah.
that is what it resonates with. And then there's the Kali phos salt, which also rules like the neural nerves. And
Yeah.
that's when you get headaches and migraines if you've got a deficiency within this. And
Yeah.
a hot-headed temper. And then
Right.
you've got Pisces, the two fish that represent the feet at the
Yeah.
end of the zodiac.
Mhm.
And in the sky, the constellation is the fish are tethered together by a cord. And is that not our legs tethering together two fish?
It's literal. Isn't that crazy? It's literal. Like
Yes.
if you're looking
Same
up, you
as,
just literally
yeah.
see it.
And also, the reason that Gemini is seen as twins
And
is because it rules the arms, the two,
look
like
at that.
everything that's got
Right.
pairs of in the
Doubles.
body,
Yeah.
as well as the lungs. So
Yeah. Wow.
it's very, very deep. It's also very disregarded
Yes,
today.
yes. And it makes sense as to why it would be disregarded because it like
Mm,
doesn't benefit the system. It doesn't benefit
exactly.
humanity to wake up to our true power. You know, it doesn't benefit like it benefits humanity. It doesn't benefit the people in power, you know, these
Yeah,
darker forces that are trying to keep us asleep to who we truly
exactly.
are, to that essence that we all carry. So yeah, of
Yeah,
course they don't want us knowing this. So they'd rather just throw these curveballs and just be like, yeah, pop astrology, the things that you see in the magazines that make no sense, you know, and that's why people are like, this is
exactly.
bullshit. This doesn't make any sense, you
They
know.
dumb it down so
They
much,
dumb it
and that
down.
is
Yeah.
very much on purpose.
Yes.
Because when you pull up like an actual astrology chart, you're realizing that, okay, so it's not the same as the picture that's on my mug. There's actually a
Yeah.
deeper level to this.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and a
Exactly.
complexity that takes literally decades to become an expert in. Like you're forever learning, forever reading books, forever practicing reading charts. There's
Absolutely.
so much knowledge to learn.
For sure. And you're forever like finding new patterns, right? Like I'm sure you as an
Yeah.
astrologer, like you do readings all the time and you find different patterns, you connect different things, you know, and then you see similarities and differences
Yeah.
amongst, like people's charts and stuff. I'm sure that's really fascinating for you. And you
Yeah.
probably learn so much about
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I do. And it's just the thing is that it was really because at the beginning of my astrological journey, obviously to practice from studying it, I was reading charts for friends and family.
Right.
And that was obviously the beginning stages. I would do that for a while. And then once I actually started getting into taking on clients and reading their charts,
Yeah.
oh, you're frozen. Hold on.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right.
Yeah, once I would start reading clients' charts, that's when I was like, oh my gosh, these people, they're strangers to me at first. I've never met them and like met them before, but I'm reading their archetypes in accuracy. I'm reading like, the planets making specific aspects to each other, the
Right.
certain conjunctions, the how the fixed stars play into their chart. And that's when it was just like, okay, so obviously experiencing this over and over again as an astrologer and how much it resonates with these people's charts, I'm like, okay, there's this even more so cementing the awareness that okay, there's absolute truth to
Yes.
astrology and particularly true sidereal astrology, which by the way is just astronomy, really. True
Yeah.
sidereal astrology is really just observing the sky currently as it is.
Right.
It's using the exact degrees of the constellations.
Right.
So, Western astrology and also Vedic as well has taken the 12 zodiac signs and put them as equal 30 degrees.
Hmm.
But when you do that, it still doesn't make sense because you'll read that chart, even if it is Vedic astrology, which uses the current placements.
Right.
But then they might have, Mars in Taurus,
Mhm.
but in the actual sky, like, Mars has already moved on to the next sign because it's not counting for that,
Right.
like
Right. Right.
the
Right.
actual degree of the constellation. So it
Right.
still isn't as accurate as what the actual stars are transmitting.
So fascinating. So fascinating. It's so
Yeah.
fascinating when you like start to really see it for what it is and you start to like
Yeah.
play the game, right? Because this it really is
Yeah.
like a game that we're playing on this matrix in this 3D realm. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's so crazy. And the ascendant is the most powerful point. Is that right?
Well, I would definitely say it's definitely very
One of the
important
most.
within your
Okay.
chart. When like
Yeah.
when it comes to your personality, I definitely read the ascendant as like a lot to do with how you approach the world, like the lens you see the world through. I guess your personality, your outer persona as well,
Right.
kind of the
Right.
character of you. Because with the sun, it's not as like time specific at all. Like if you're born within the same, if
Yeah.
you're a Virgo sun, then if you're born within the same month and a half as somebody else, you're both going to be Virgo suns. And
Yeah.
obviously, the house placement and the aspects your sun is
Right.
making brings a unique touch to your
Yeah.
Virgo.
Yeah.
And it's very important to read a chart holistically because, a Leo sun is not going to be the same as a Leo sun with an Aries rising and a moon in Sagittarius. Like a triple fire is not going to be
Oh
the same
God.
as
So true.
a Leo sun with a rising Virgo. That's not the same ball game, you know what
Right.
I mean? So
Right.
you do
Right.
have to look
Totally.
at a chart holistically. But
Yes, exactly.
yeah, but
Yeah.
something I wanted to touch on when you were saying that it's like a game, it's so true because everyone gives astrology such a new age and spiritual
Yeah. And it's
vision
not
and
woo-woo. It's
connotation, but it's really just a code. When you look at it at face value, it's not even to the point of like astrology is not prophecy, it's pattern recognition.
yes.
It's got like a, numerological, symbolic, almost mathematical sense. We do, as astrologers, skip the mathematics a little bit today because programs develop the chart. But in the past,
Yeah.
the work that it would have taken to observe the stars and chart it by hand to measure out that a square is going to be a 90-degree angle with another planet
Crazy.
and this degree of this sign. Okay, you cannot deny that that's
That's
mathematics.
crazy. Yeah, like you just put that visual in my head. I'm like, wow. That's such
Yes,
a
it
good
would have
point.
taken, a long time and a lot of knowledge and study to be able to actually develop charts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that's such a good point. And you're right, it is a code. It's like we can rise above that. If we know our code
Yeah.
and we know like how to play that, that's just
Hmm.
like game over. That really is game over for the Matrix because once we
Yeah.
know that, they fear the day that we remember our power. And
Yes,
we
exactly.
know how to tap into that and we know the details of how our chart is working out and like how certain energies are working together and our strengths
Yeah.
and like what we're meant to do in this lifetime, this purpose that we're supposed to live out. Forget it,
Yeah.
right? Like that's true power embodied.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I don't
So
know if you
good.
wanted to dive into like the how reincarnation plays into astrology.
Yes, I was just gonna ask that. Like, how does that
Okay.
tie in? And like this clock, this wheel that astrology is.
Yeah, because when you do study astrology, you just hear this is a karmic placement, this is karmic, this is karma. You hear that over and
Yeah,
over
yeah, yeah, yeah,
again.
yeah.
At this
Karmic. Yeah,
point
like
is your past
Capricorn's
life
car. I've gotten told that with my Capricorn sun. It's like, oh, this is
because of
karmic. Scorpio
because of
rising
the
is karmic.
Saturn.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
because the
Pluto,
Saturn
right?
ruler is very karmic.
Yeah.
And it astrology can definitely be seen as like the reincarnation wheel. Like when, okay, we have to get really deep for this. So I don't
Okay,
know if
I'm
you guys are ready.
excited. No, I'm ready. I'm just sitting here like, let's go.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, this is my truth. Okay, so it doesn't
Okay.
mean they have to agree or
Yes,
resonate, but
yes.
this is
This is
how
a
I
place
see
where everyone
reality.
just shares like what feels good
Yeah.
to them, like their
So
own
don't
thoughts.
come for me in the comments.
Girl, no, this is safe, I promise. This is safe.
Okay, so so the only way that when I got into astrology it could make sense to me is when I did discover the geocentric Earth model. Because when you see the planets as distant rocks extremely far away, and then the sun is the center of the universe, the
Right.
heliocentric model that they teach us from primary school all the way
Hmm.
until you're like 80 years old and passing on. They ingrain it in our mind.
Yeah.
And when I had that perspective of Earth,
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to me that Mars, which like they say that we're planning to move to, could actually influence my aggression and anger and drive and motivation. I was like, what the hell?
Right. Right.
But when I actually discovered that, okay, we're actually living in a very magical realm. There is like a sense of just divine intelligence, creation, and Earth is the
Absolutely.
center of our universe. So our realm and our reality that we're currently in. I
Right.
think there's absolutely 100% different realities and different existences, but those are other realms that you don't get on a spaceship to go to. You take your soul to go to those. So, basically,
Don't forget to pack
and
your
so,
luggage.
yeah, exactly. And so, whilst we're in this realm of Earth, living in Earth, we are in like we're living on the plane that is the main, part of this reality. And
Right.
whether you want to think of it as, a realm or like literally a level plane, like a disc or however you want to see it, at least I see it as the sun and the moon are directly above us. They're local. They're the luminaries that
Right.
light up our world,
Hmm.
the day, the nighttime, and then they go in circles like this.
Right.
So you got to see it like this because that's when the northern lights make sense because they're
Mm.
coming from the North Pole, which is very much at the center.
Right.
And then and then we've got some sort of dome, which they put in all the movies. So it's predictive programming anyways.
Right. They
And
tell us. They tell us so like openly.
yeah. And it's put in all those ancient scriptures too. So they just tried to hide it and they do that through making it seem like all our ancestors were dumb, which you got
Right.
to really question why nobody even remembers how any of these ancient buildings were built. Some
Right.
sort of
Yeah.
reset or catastrophe has definitely severed our connection with our previous ancestors
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
gotten rid of the information and knowledge that because usually otherwise everything gets passed down. You kind of learn. That's how we know how
Right.
to farm and
But we've
and like
lost
grow
that.
food, make recipes.
We've
Yeah, we
lost
still
so
know
much of
all of
that. It's
that.
crazy. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then when it
There's a
comes to
disconnect
actually building with design and precision with the stars and everything, we've lost that knowledge.
for sure.
But back to the way that our realm is kind of set up,
Yes.
which it just ties so well into astrology. So I hope that you can get my vision here. But
Yeah.
then the zodiac is literally a circle. That's why zodiac in Greek means circle of animals.
Hmm.
And so it's making a literal perfect circle in the sky. That's why when I think that when you add in the 13th sign of Fucus, you
Right.
sever the circle. Because
Mhm.
when you actually look at, should I just share my screen and go into
Yeah,
Stellarium?
shares. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, so we can just like break so people could see and you could break it down.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I'm gonna get it up first so
Okay.
we don't. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the 13th sign because that, gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah, it does, especially when people get into true sidereal astrology as
Right.
well.
Right.
Okay, I'm just requesting to share the
Is that
screen.
like before Scorpio? After?
It's after Scorpio, before Sagittarius.
Right, 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 right. Okay. And Scorpio's pretty short too. There's not much, right? It's like
Yes.
because Virgo takes up a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Virgo, yeah, Virgo is the biggest constellation in degrees.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a way to get the ecliptic up on this one. But anyways, we'll just go ahead. So this is Stellarium if you ever want to have a peek into the sky. But
Oh, amazing.
um,
This is
this
incredible.
is the Gemini constellation. This isn't set to current. This is left over from one of my clients yesterday. But um, this is Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Virgo, as you can see, is very long. So it makes no
Yeah,
sense to be making Virgo 30 degrees and Leo 30 degrees because that's not the length that they are.
at all. That's when you see
No.
it, it's just like that's not that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And we're going in like a line here. So Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius,
Uh-huh.
Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces,
Pisces.
Aries, Taurus,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
then back to Gemini. So you see how it's the perfect circle, but
Oh,
when you
wow.
go to
Right.
add in a fucus is up here.
Yeah.
It's it's you're taking a circle and then putting a fucus here just because the foot goes through Scorpio. And that's
Wow.
why if you go to include a fucus, one, you're taking the sacred number of 12, 12
Mm,
systems, 12 major systems of the body,
right.
12 cranial nerves, 12
Right.
disciples of Jesus, 12
Right.
essential tissue salts,
The sacred number.
13.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, when you add in 13, it's not divisible. So in astrology, you divide 12 by four elements, earth, water, air, and fire,
Mhm.
and then three modalities, mutable, fixed, and cardinal. I did
Right.
them the wrong way around. But then
Yeah.
that creates,
That
anyways,
was
doing it
so cute.
backwards today. And then those three modalities are crucial in our chemical astrology because that's the cross that you're born on.
Right.
And it's interesting because when we when you look at the circle here, the
Hmm.
cardinal signs are literally opposite, like this. And so it's creating a cross. And
Right. Right.
the sun in the constellation that you're born on is the cross that you carry in this lifetime. And that's got a huge representation of your soul's karmic burdens or karmic journey in this
Right.
lifetime.
Right. Right.
So if you're a Capricorn sun, are you?
Yeah.
Yes, then that's the cardinal cross. And it ties back into esoteric astrology because in the Bible, Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. He actually said, forget yourself, pick up your cross and follow me. So you can take it as an esoteric representation of picking up your spiritual cross.
Right.
And the goal is if you're on the Capricorn cardinal cross, then the energies that you have to master is Capricorn earth,
Mm.
then Libra air, and wait, Capricorn. How am I getting this mixed up now? Cancer water,
Right.
and um
Uh,
then
Aries.
yes, I'm going in the wrong
Aries.
order. That's why.
I know.
Then
I'm just like,
Aries
yeah, I was like, wait, yeah,
fire.
Aries.
Yeah, then Aries fire. So then you have to master each of those elements through the archetype of that zodiac sign. And that's your spiritual journey in this lifetime. And that's very keyly tied to your soul's liberation journey from the zodiac.
So fascinating. Like I'm making that
Yeah.
connection right now in my life. I'm just like, I'm like,
Yes,
am I living that out?
exactly. So it's
Probably see
that's
me
kind
thinking
of
about it.
because then you're learning how to balance the cross rather than having it like tilted based off the sun, if
Wow,
you look at it that way.
interesting. Right, right,
But yeah, so when you add in a fucus,
right.
people don't really know where to put it. They're like, okay, so it's going to take on the fire of Sagittarius and the water of Scorpio. And it's, or they call it ether.
Yeah,
It doesn't really have a place. And I think that I mean, when you look into Ophiuchus, it's the rod of Asclepius, it's the medicine,
yeah.
the healer, like
Mhm.
the alchemist. So it still is a constellation, but I think
Right.
that it's outside the zodiac. And if you want to look at it as like the wisdom of the serpent, then you can view it as the ultimate end goal of the energy and the archetype that like everyone would want to reach and to like kind of get to. So I think that Ophiuchus is kind of beyond the zodiac because when you look at Scorpio, Scorpio is the underworld,
Yeah.
it's the truth, it's intensity, passion, alchemy,
Transformation. Right. Yeah.
death and rebirth. And so you could possibly see Scorpio. Like when you think of Scorpio, it's almost like when the veil is thin, being able
Hmm.
to see clearly and see
Hmm.
deeply. So, what if this is like the door of the exit of the zodiac almost, and then you find yourself at a fucus?
Yeah,
So,
wow.
that's one way to look at it. So,
Yeah.
basically, I don't ignore the like, I don't ignore a fucus at
Right.
all, but I
Right.
just don't see the zodiac as 13 signs. I see the zodiac as
It's
12.
12, right. It's like the actual circle, you know,
Yeah.
like just kind of throwing in like, just
Yeah.
the extra. That's very fast. The cardinal
Because
cross, like
otherwise,
the cross is interesting to me.
yeah. Yeah,
Because
because
that's
otherwise
something
it's
that obviously tropical doesn't talk about. Like we don't like that's not
no,
something
yeah.
that is spoken about, and that's obviously a really big part of your soul's journey, like you said.
Yeah. Well, it's tropical again is very matrix astrology. It's very 3D. Like it doesn't really
Hmm.
take into account alchemy,
Mm-mm.
reincarnation, soul progression,
Yeah,
like the hero's journey,
right.
as much as true sidereal does. And yeah, so now you can see that the constellations are in a very perfect
Yeah,
circle.
right.
And then Polaris is very much the center star. It's like the fixed North Pole, the fixed North Star.
Hmm.
And the constellations just move around it. They shift. So the way that it's set up is it's almost like our eye as well. When we really want to go deep, our eye is kind of mirroring
Hmm.
the way that our realm is set up because
Yeah.
I'm also an iridologist, by the way, so I study and read people's eyes to look at their health. And
Amazing.
the sclera is the white part. And when you look into kind of, I don't want to say like flat Earth, but
Right.
when you search that up, you're going to come up with Antarctica being I guess, the outer edge and the wall that surrounds all and contains the water and the land.
Hmm.
And then the iris part is like the color, so it's going to be like the
Right.
water and the land.
Right.
And then the pupil can be seen as the North Pole, like the
Wow.
center of the plane, because that's also where you get the black sun. So like
Right.
the black sun is what is supposedly also projecting those northern lights. And
Um,
then you've got the sun and the moon. And then you've got like obviously your lens. And so that's going to be the dome, like the retinal lens. So then
that's
that's the dome.
amazing. And the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? As we know, that's
Exactly.
obviously, it's a
Yeah.
saying for a reason, but there's so much truth
Yeah.
to that when you can
And
look
the round
in.
and the round disc is the same shape that the zodiac is round as well.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. I need to do like a session with you so you can read my eyes.
It is really, really fascinating. It is great because you can see into your, I guess, genetic
For sure.
predispositions
For
or
sure.
yeah, where
Right.
the toxicity is built up in your body or parts of your body that's a little bit more weak to focus
Right.
on healing. Yeah,
And
so it is really
detoxing and
awesome.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's amazing.
Exactly.
So let
It's
me ask
a
you,
yeah.
'cause
Hmm.
I'm just so curious with like Prison Planet and that theory, and how does astrology tie into that?
Yeah.
What are your
Cool.
thoughts on that? Like, I'm just so curious.
So the other
You're
day,
like,
no,
okay, this is a big topic.
no. I do love talking about this. The other day I was actually going down a rabbit hole, which, to be honest, it was someone that follows my Instagram that messaged me a book. Because I said, oh, like, have you looked into Gnostic astrology? And then they
Mhm.
sent some books and it said Mandaism on it. So I actually went down maybe a 2 hour rabbit hole of researching this Mandaism. And it's actually one of the only last surviving sects of Gnosticism.
Wow.
And it's a very tiny religion, and
Hmm.
a few people still exist today, but they've got rules where you can't convert into their religion. You have to be born into it. So
Right.
it's very, very small because they
Exclusive.
don't want it
Yeah.
to be corrupted like other religions. So it's very pure. They hold the
Right.
same belief systems. But honestly, I really do align with a lot of their
Mhm.
ideals and beliefs.
And their
So
teachings,
they've
yeah.
got what they call the Great Life,
Hmm.
which they say it in their own language, but the Great Life is what they see a God as. It's almost like where everything stems from. People in New Age call it source or just great intelligence, and realistically, it's spirit. And then they see on the opposite side what Christians would call Satan or the devil as like as material because it's in opposition to spirit.
Hmm.
Matter
Okay.
is opposed to spirit.
Right.
And so they do agree with this being like a fallen world, but it's not as pessimistic as Gnostic beliefs.
Hmm.
They can go really deep. They can go to the point of like antinatalism, which I never really thought would really solve anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very nihilistic for sure. Like the Gnostic
Yeah,
beliefs, they can
really.
go really dark. It can get really dark and
It
really
can get really dark. Yeah. So I liked Mandeism because it was a little bit more lighter. So they're saying
yeah,
you don't want to reject the material existence, but you want to transcend it. And that the ultimate goal of being here is through self-knowledge because Manda means knowledge in their language.
right.
So it's similar to how Gnostic means knowledge in
Gnosis.
Gnosticism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gnosis.
Hmm.
So it's the idea that they also were very aware of astrology. So they were also astrologists as well, very aware of it. And their perspective of astrology was very much in alignment with getting to know your soul and realizing the limitations that the planets have set upon you. So their idea is that when they view the seven classical planets,
Yeah.
that they do closely tie them with the Gnostics call them archons or just they're beings, but they're beings that are there to gatekeep the material world. That when your soul incarnates here, whether from a past life within Earth or from a realm and reality outside of Earth, your soul actually descends through the seven celestial spheres, each
Right.
ruled by one of the seven planets. And it's almost like your soul's read like a barcode and given an imprinted natal chart, which is like a blueprint for your lifetime based on the specific time of your birth.
Right.
And that's going to set you with certain limitations, maybe
Mm.
traumas, or anything that's going to kind of keep you in that perpetual reincarnation cycle.
Right.
Because one thing that we do have to realize, and this just kind of comes from common sense, we do live in a dualistic reality,
We
and this
do.
is something that they based all their beliefs off.
Right.
But when the Bible says that we're living in a fallen world, a lot of ancient texts would also say the same. And I think I can't remember what book it was, but maybe it was even the Bible, but the fact that I think it's Satan is the prince of this world and like that this is
Mm.
his playground and that's kind
Yeah.
of what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Yeah. I've heard that before.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea is that even if you use common sense, we are disconnected from source because the sun, as beautiful as the sun is, and as beautiful as, the beaches and everything else, the sun is not the true light. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a
Yeah.
bit of a fake
It
light.
is. It is. Yeah.
And we're getting our energy from the sun and from like carnalistic acts like eating and consuming other living
Yes. Nature
beings.
consumes itself. Yeah. It's interesting.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So we're not connected to eternal source. We're
Mhm.
disconnected from eternal source. And it's almost like we are in a reality that possibly was set up in some way by a fallen being.
Right.
Maybe the demiurge or
Right.
the great architect, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's created something that is almost like a replica copy of what we would perceive the true realm and reality to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the idea is that we won't wake up to it because obviously we would think that, you know, oh, the sun is, the true life and
Right.
everything like this.
The
But what if
energy
it is?
giver and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what if it is actually just an imposter, fake, replacement of true source, true light,
I
and the
think, yeah,
ability for
it
us
is.
in a true reality to just exist eternally. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
to actually to not have to consume because we would be like already infused with divine light. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yes, exactly. That's such a great
Yeah.
point. That is such a good breakdown. Oh my God, I'm like,
Yeah, because
I'm
I've
loving it.
I've researched this for a long
It's,
time and I've
yeah,
gone
it's
through my
so good.
many different theories, but this is my current theory
Yeah, this is what
as of now,
resonates.
anyways.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
what's resonating right now. And the idea is that truly, yeah, as a soul, you should kind of have the ultimate goal to want to go through self alchemy, like
Uh-huh.
master yourself, get
Yeah,
to know yourself,
absolutely.
and through that self knowledge and through that self work, liberate from this reality.
Yeah.
And not take on the burdens of trying to stay here to fix it or assuming that
Yes.
you're here to be a light worker or a star seed or anything like this.
Right. Right, right,
Like
right.
it's really is a journey for us to actually like come and go. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly, exactly. It's like, know yourself, right? Like learn what you need to learn. It really is a journey of going within, it's really a
Mhm.
journey to the underworld, right? Like of like
Yeah.
really figuring out what you are, who you are, what resonates best with you, and exactly kind of being detached of I'm not here for long, and then once I'm gone, I'm gone. But
Yeah.
not thinking, oh yeah, like I have to come back to fix my karma, or
Yeah.
this
And you
like
know what?
perpetuating cycle.
Yeah. And you know what? When we talk about the seven planets as archons, Venus as beneficial, it seems in modern astrology, where it represents your values, what you
Mhm.
love, what you're attracted to.
Love
On the
romance.
opposite side, it's your desires, your attachments, your like I guess like vanity.
Yeah.
It's got an
Hedonism.
opposite side. Yeah,
Right.
it's got a dark side.
Yes.
Even the positive planets have a dark side where, the sun, it represents your divine spark, your creative energy. Oh, but they've got the opposite side, which is extremely egotistical,
Yes.
prideful, you know,
Leo. Yeah.
exactly. So all of the planets have their opposing forces that are utilized within your chart to keep you like wanting to come back and experience the material reality again,
Yeah.
rather than leveling up and
Right.
actually transcending.
Right, disconnecting from it and knowing yourself
Yeah,
enough to be like, I don't need this stuff. I don't need to be tied
yeah,
to the material world. I can enjoy
exactly.
it for what it is. One foot in the material, one foot in the in the spiritual, like
Exactly.
that's how I live my life and that's how I
And
see it.
yeah, and all the people of the like Mandaism, I don't know what the different ways to word Mandaism is. I only know Mandaism, but um they all believed that astrology was so important to know because when you die and you leave your physical body, your soul actually faces each of the planets or each of those beings that are the planets, which are the
Wow.
gatekeepers of the material realm. And they used to have certain passwords
Yeah.
that apparently they would use and their
Yeah.
soul would remember and almost like say those passwords as you transcend. But either way, it's almost like you have to face that archetype of yourself in this lifetime. And if you didn't do the work whilst you were alive on Earth, it's kind of too late. Like you're not going to get let through that gate. And so you have to come back. So it's not just a matter of knowing, it's
Right.
actually taking action
Right.
and being,
Embodying.
and yeah, and putting knowledge to practice in this
Yes.
lifetime. So when you get an astrology reading, it shouldn't just be a very superficial,
Right.
okay, this is your personality for this
Yeah, it's like
lifetime, you'll
yay, now
marry
you can
this
walk
person.
away and
No, like it has to be confrontational. You have to go through the shadow self. What are your limitations of this lifetime? What's
I
holding
love
you
this.
back from actual progression? Like one of my clients this week, she was so lovely. And, we were just going, we obviously have got positives that we go through, like the things that you're gifted with, why your soul shines so bright, etc.
Yeah.
But you do have to go through the hard side as well because we're living in a dualistic reality.
Right. And no
And
one's
she even
perfect. Yeah.
Exactly. And she even said to me, she's like, I've gone quiet because I don't want to be the woman that cries, but everything you're saying is the truth.
Oh, yeah.
So it can really touch deep because you kind of realize that, oh my goodness, like this is literally programmed within my chart. And it's so true. This is actually what I go through, or this is exactly how I approach life, or the way that I feel depends how it shows up for you.
Right.
But the first step is awareness of it.
Yeah.
And then the second step is actually taking action on resolving that because you have to face your shadow and then
Absolutely.
integrate it into your light. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you already know, like with my Scorpio
Yeah.
energy, I'm just like, girl, yes, we love the shadow. We love talking about this. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. I think there's so much power in these tools for that reason. And it's not about using
Exactly.
these tools to bypass or, like you said, identify strongly with like, an energy, right? Or an archetype.
Yeah.
It's really about like seeing it for what it is. Like you said it so well, having the knowledge and like really
Mm,
putting it to the test, right?
exactly.
Ultimately that's when it matters because intellectual knowledge is great and all, but if you're not actually embodying the work, then it's not doing anything for
Yeah.
you and you're not really breaking free from anything, and you're not
Exactly.
really like transmuting, alchemizing this shadow side of you. So I 1,000%
Yeah.
agree. I think these tools like astrology is so valuable, and even tarot and stuff like that, so valuable because you can really
Yeah,
learn to face yourself and
exactly.
like really see yourself for what you are, light and dark.
Exactly. Yeah. So when people sometimes message me on Instagram and be like, oh, why don't you post the content that says, these three zodiac signs are going to have the best luck and love in the next few months? It's like, because I'm not that type of astrologer.
That's yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with those types of astrologers, but that's just not me. I
yeah,
feel like my purpose and my path and my like career in astrology is just on a deeper, different level.
yeah,
Goes
exactly.
into the
More
alchemical
esoteric.
side of it.
Absolutely.
Exactly, more esoteric. Yeah.
Yes, and it's just I think that's more grounded in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
that view of astrology is so much more grounded in reality because like you said, we live in a dualistic reality, and so we do have to face these parts of ourselves. And what's the best way of doing it is, by facing that confrontational material that comes up in
Yeah.
reading. But yeah, like it's like the three zodiac signs that are going to be rich this year.
Well, the thing is that that's also like reaffirming everyone that is skeptical of astrology to continue being skeptical of astrology because it's true. It's too generic. Like when you read an actual chart, you realize how many, like that everyone is so unique.
For sure.
Everything natal chart reading is completely different to the previous one because nobody's the
Absolutely.
same. But
Absolutely.
when you either just utilize sun signs to pick the three that are going to be, like having the best month in 3 months or whatever,
Right.
you don't even know that that Capricorn sun hasn't got like a Pluto squaring their moon, and maybe it's not going to be very good for them. So it's just a marketing and pop culture tactic. It's not actual, it's just for people to grow their social media,
It's
get
yeah,
more
it's to get
attention.
viral. Yeah, it's to go viral.
Exactly. Like it's not real astrology. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's not, yeah, that leads you astray, if anything. Like, that's why
It
discernment is
does.
important too when you're picking, an astrologer or a healer or someone that you're working with, is like being really
Yeah.
like careful and very discerning and observant of
Yeah.
how these people are showing up. And also, are they embodying what they're teaching, right? Like, that's also a big part
Exactly.
as well. It's like, are they actually putting it to the test? Like, you can feel that energy doesn't lie, So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So I kind of want to talk about the archetypes of the signs, right? Can
Yes.
we
Yeah.
go through that? Like that to me, like I'm excited to break it down with you.
Definitely. Let's do that. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll start with Aries, right? Like the first
Aries.
first sign, like what's the breakdown? Like what's the energy? What does Aries feel like?
Okay, so Aries is ruled by fire and Mars. So Aries has got that bold, courageous energy. If you think of, so when we're talking about the archetypes, it's the very pure, clear cut.
Yeah.
And so, if you're thinking of like, oh, I'm a sun in Aries, I don't relate, just give us a
Hmm.
break. We're talking about the archetypes here. It's different.
Yeah. Exactly.
But picture a warrior, a
Hmm.
female warrior, like a badass,
Yes.
a male warrior, a fighter, like
Yeah.
someone that's got passion, drive, like
Wonder
never-ending
Woman.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman, like Superman, there's strength, there's
Yeah.
boldness. These are the courageous types. Like this
Right.
archetype is the energy of like, oh, I see a challenge that makes me want to fight it even more. I want to overcome this challenge. It's like
Yeah.
giving me the chariot card
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
in like
Yeah.
tarot. It's facing challenges straight on, it's charging forwards, it's having the aggression to fight for what you believe in, it's independence, pioneering, it's
Leadership. Yeah.
leadership. Yeah, it's got all these energies of like, paving a path, like walking in your direction with strength, but particularly in like leading an army or
Yes.
something like that. There's like a level of, yeah, aggression,
Yeah.
passion, there's the
Yeah.
desire, there's the deep, like red hot emotions as well.
Very passionate and very like primal,
Yeah,
right? Because Mars is so primal. So it's
exactly. Very
just like,
primal.
yeah, so it's just very like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna get what I want. And
Impulsive as well.
yeah, impulsive,
Impulsive, yeah.
impatience also. Very
Yeah,
scary.
impatient, impulsive. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's first house, so it makes sense that it's like I almost see Aries like the baby, like it's just like the
Yes.
baby learning to walk, and like it's just very like I'm here, I'm in the world, and I'm ready to
Hmm.
do the thing, right?
Yes, because the thing is that there's that level of courage and bravery that when it's almost like as a child where they're almost just learning that, another archetype's going to be scared to do that because they're experienced, but it's almost like the fool a little bit in an Aries
Mhm.
because you're embarking on an adventure and you don't even really care about the repercussions because you've just got like that fire.
Yeah, you're like, whatever, I'll deal with the consequences after.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that. I love it. Yeah. And so moving on to Taurus. Taurus is Venus, right?
Yeah.
And it's like
Earth.
grounded, earthy. I love Taurus energy. It's
Same.
great.
I was gonna say the same thing. Taurus is so beautiful because I always picture a beautiful waterfall
Me too.
or like an amazing hike or
Yeah.
flowing water. Like Taurus has just got that grounded and
So
like
good.
flowy nature. It's just stability. It's like foundations, it's resourcefulness,
Yeah.
practicality,
Yeah.
um, also beauty, aesthetics, everything that's comfortable. There's food,
Yeah.
there's beautiful
Luxury.
clothing, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
luxury. It's like having assets, possessions, because it's ruling the second house
Yeah.
of all of that. It's values. So it's a feminine earth element.
Yeah.
And Taurus just has that natural beauty, peacefulness, tranquility, calm energy. Taurus is like almost like a rock, like a little bit
Yes.
stubborn.
Yeah. A little
A
stubborn,
bit,
you know?
bit stubborn and resistant to change, but the energy itself is what a lot of people need in their life when they've got maybe too many fire placements or something because it's slow. Like the
Yeah.
energy of Taurus is slow, patient. It's crazy how you can go from Aries all the way to Taurus in the next zodiac.
I know it's crazy. It's like, whoa, there's like two different energies completely. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And I
yeah,
love like the sensuality that Taurus has. It's the senses.
exactly.
It's like experiencing life
Yeah,
through, doing things physically, like the tangible world,
tangible
So
reality.
I
Yeah,
love, I
very.
love Taurus.
I always say it's the earth sign that's most connected to like the earth, like so grounded in nature.
It
Loves like
is.
these people love gardening, like putting their
Yeah.
hands to work, using their hands, being very
Yeah.
physical.
Cooking
Yeah,
also, right? Like making
yeah, their
food and
food
stuff.
cooking.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
it's so interesting. Yeah, Taurus is definitely one of my favorite archetypes for sure. Moving on to
Yeah.
Gemini too. Gemini, I love Gemini energy. Like you guys are like spicy and fun and exciting,
Yeah.
dynamic.
Yes, so Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect, and it's an air sign. So this is where you get a lot of mental activity going on. This is all about curiosity, inquisitiveness, learning,
Research. Yeah.
um, yeah, research. It's conversations, communication. This is like social butterfly, just speaking. Usually very good at articulating their words, communication. Um, and also they're just like forever students. It's everything just wanting to learn, like a hunger for knowledge.
Love it.
And there's like a charm and a wittiness as well,
Yeah.
just a way to kind of network, get into social groups to,
Yeah.
learn, speak, discover. And
Yeah.
there's just a level of intelligence as well to Gemini. So
Yeah.
like
Very
social,
intellectual.
communicative.
For sure,
Yeah.
very intellectual. My niece is a Gemini rising also, and she will
Yeah.
take my ear off. And I love it.
Yes.
She just loves like talking about different things, and it's so cute. She's little, she's like
Yeah.
8, but like I could already see that curiosity in her, and it's like amazing
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, it's like being a textbook almost. It's just just blurting
Encyclopedia.
out random facts and it's like, where the hell did that come from?
It's like, how do you know that?
Yeah, I know, right? It's just yeah,
That's
very
so
like
good.
very very mental, very
Very, yeah.
mental.
Yes, yes, very. Love that. And moving on with Cancer. Cancer energy is also
Yeah.
very sweet and, feminine,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Ruled by
so
the moon.
Cancer is ruled by the moon. So Leo and Cancer are the only ones that are ruled by the luminaries.
Luminaries. Hmm.
And it's a feminine water sign. And so you can really I always look at Cancer as the mother of the zodiac and Capricorn as the father of the
Yeah,
zodiac.
yeah,
So Cancer has this like nurturing energy. It's calm, it's mothering,
hmm,
caretaking, nurturing, like it's very loving in the
yeah,
sense of being very emotionally in tune, very empathetic, a good
right.
listener, someone that just want like someone that just pours love, like wants to bring safety.
Yeah,
It's like a
comfort.
safe space. It's comfort, familiarity.
Yeah.
Not too much, not very big on like change and active momentum, more of that sort of retreat and yeah, familiar spaces, comfort as well. So yeah, it's that really just loving and caretaking energy that
Yeah.
like whenever you just think of the archetype, think of like a mother that's just born to be a mother. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So true. Like
Yeah.
I see that with a lot of cancers and like cancer energy. It's so like nurturing. It's so motherly. Like you can just
Yeah, it's
feel
like
so safe.
yeah, exactly. It's like you know, when there's people that you're talking in a social group, there's some people that don't even notice that someone's standing on the outside of the circle. Like the cancer's gonna notice that someone's standing on the outside of the
Yeah.
circle. And it's
Bring,
kind of
bring
Libra,
them
but it's
in.
also just because it's more from like a an emotional, like they're like I would hate to be in that position where I'm new and I don't want to stand outside of the circle. So I'm gonna like come in, come on,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
join.
Like,
You know, it's
yeah.
that like it's just that love of being so emotionally in tune and so connected to your emotions.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yeah.
And then we go from that to Leo,
Yeah. So
which
the
Leo's
Leo,
like, I'm shining bright like a star.
yeah, so the Leo archetype is back to the fire element ruled by the sun. And this is the energy of being in the public. This is public eye. This is just being seen. It's creative energy, very playful because it rules the fifth
Performer.
house of children and youth,
Yeah.
joy, pleasures. So there's a level of just like passion, creativity. It's like almost artistic in an entertainment sort of way.
Mhm.
Just very, it's like very confident energy. It's
Yeah.
very much like, I'm here to be seen. I'm here to be known. I'm here to be recognized, maybe even famous. Like
Yeah.
loving attention,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
seeking validation and praise and
Yeah.
loving eyes on me sort of
Hmm.
energy. It's
Hmm.
very much, you know, bold and characteristic, very expressive.
Charismatic. Yeah, very
Yeah,
charismatic
it's
also.
like the typical where you'd place actors and actresses,
Yeah.
singers, artists, people that are in the public eye, they're
Right.
performers, you know, maybe like drama or athletes, or you chuck them
Yeah.
all into the Leo archetype. And obviously they're not all going to be Leos, but it's
Right.
it's what the archetype entails.
Yes. Yeah, 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 totally. I love Leo energy too. Definitely one of my favorite energies.
Yeah,
Leo's
yeah,
great because Leo's very like I'm just gonna be me, and Leo gives people permission to be themselves too, which I find really like
yeah.
inspiring. It's like, oh, I can really shine bright and not dim my light, and
Mm,
like teaches me that. It teaches me to like
yeah.
in public and be seen.
Yeah, and there's also a level of generosity to Leo archetype as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
But there's because of the like the pride and the prideful side, it's like, oh, okay, but is that generosity coming from like, oh, because then people are gonna be like, yeah, you know, like thank you so much, eyes on me. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I know
yeah,
I
yeah.
could
It's like,
give
oh,
gifts.
I did that actually.
Yeah. So I don't really know how the generosity aspect fits in, but it does. Like it's I guess it's
Yeah,
just because when you think of the sun, it's all about happiness, joy, like love, community, very like obviously with the confidence, it's extroverted energy.
right.
So I think it's just the idea of like giving and just bringing light to people's lives, like being the light
Yeah,
bearer a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I love that. And now, Virgo,
So yeah,
Virgo
Virgo.
energy,
So Virgo is feminine earth.
perfectionist.
Perfectionist, yeah. This is where we get the doers, the people that just don't know how to stop doing, delegating tasks to themselves and then probably complaining that other people aren't, doing enough. And it's like, well, because you already did everything.
Like they're incompetent, like Virgos are like
Yeah. And
pointing
then
fingers.
like because it's ruled by Mercury as well, there's that level of like possibly overthinking. There's the being hypercritical,
Hmm.
especially when you've got a Leo ascendant, you've got that like inner critic and self-judgment and certain things because of that high standards that you
Yeah,
set for not
yeah,
only yourself but everyone around you. It depends how the archetype plays into your chart,
for sure.
but
Yeah,
in general, it's very much there is also the level of service as well because it's
yeah,
naturally wanting to help because you want to be productive, really. You want to the organization energy of Virgo is just because there's that level of like constantly wanting to refine, critique, like get things in place, in order, perfect, in alignment, like having things your way a little
Perfectly
bit in the
lined
sense
up.
of like,
Yeah. Control
yeah, like
freak.
I know the best way that this is supposed to go, and this is the way that it's going to work out. And it's also got that curiosity to learn as well, but it's the intelligence of Mercury plays very differently here too in Gemini,
Mhm.
because of the Virgo being an earth element and
Right.
feminine polarity, there's more of an introverted nature, a bit
Okay.
more of a shyness to Virgo in
Yeah.
comparison to Gemini.
Yeah. Gemini's
So
more extrovert. Yeah.
yeah, so the intellect is more internal and it's more through like the maybe Virgo being a bit more studious, being a bit more you know,
More heads
just
down, more, like
yeah,
my
yeah,
zone.
that yeah, hardworking, getting things done, doing
Right.
yeah, categorizing.
So good. And now we go on to
Yeah.
Libra. Libra's also really
Libra.
cute. Flirty,
Yes.
fun.
Everything about charm,
Yeah.
romance,
Yeah.
luxury aesthetics.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes. So masculine polarity and air as well. So Libra is very much all it rules the seventh house of partnerships and relationships. So that's when you get I guess there is an aspect of people pleasing or just trying to keep community,
Keep the peace. Yeah.
keeping everyone together. It's the scales, so it's ruling harmony and
Right.
balance and
Balance. Yeah.
maintaining peace, that like
Yeah.
diplomatic energy. So Libra's got that very people orientated
Yeah.
personality or archetype. It's very much centered towards other people
Right.
and
Right.
like I guess gathering, keeping close circles, also focused on yeah, aesthetics, beauty, ruled by Venus. It's going to be very
Pleasure.
much
Yeah.
yeah, very much like yeah, pleasure. It's that aspect of love and romance,
Mhm.
dating. It's the archetype of dressing up, looking beautiful, putting effort into yourself.
Yeah.
Venus rules values as well.
Yeah.
So it's really key placed on that, like attraction, values, attachments as well, a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. Because it's
So
Venus. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's really that, yeah, that loving social type of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. The poor Libras with their people pleasing. It's just like, no, I don't want any
Yes.
confrontation. Like,
Because
I
they
just want
don't, yeah,
everyone
they
to get
don't want
along.
confrontation. They don't want conflict.
Yeah.
They want everyone to get along,
Yeah.
because they try to keep the harmony and the peace within the people.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then the next sign is Scorpio, and you got the opposite.
Yeah.
Scorpio's like, I'm ready. I'm
Scorpio
ready
is
to
like,
fight.
yeah, I know. It's like, okay, let's bring this conflict. So yeah, it is true that the Scorpio archetype has a bit of a bite to it, because Scorpio is like there's an intensity to it. So
All
it's
or
water.
nothing.
Yeah, water element, and ruled by Mars. So then you've got the god of war ruling Scorpio, but the feminine side instead
Right.
of the masculine Aries.
Yeah.
Um, but Scorpio, I always look at from like it gets a little bit of a bad rap because when you look at it on a superficial level of that black and white, trust and loyalty, if you break it, I'm never talking to you
Oh,
again.
100%.
Yeah, and that still plays in there, but there is also when you look at the mythology of Scorpio, it used to be represented as an eagle or the phoenix, and
Yeah.
so it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Mhm.
So it's very much like the Scorpio archetype walks through the shadows,
Right.
is not afraid of the dark or the things like taboo topics,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
it's
Bring
death.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wanting the truth or nothing. And there's an intensity and a passion about that. And it's very alchemical energy. So there's that transformational aspect
Right.
of the Phoenix or as the Scorpio archetype.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I view Scorpio as the most powerful sign of the zodiac because Aries is gonna like get power through domination, like just dominating
Yes.
everyone and taking on the
It's
power.
different. Yeah. It's
But
different.
Scorpio is naturally powerful because of that
Yes.
natural ability to alchemize,
Mhm.
transform, and literally go through whether it be trauma or difficult, dark situations and then just get back up. It's like the fighter that never stops fighting.
Right.
There's that ability to just like always keep going. That ability to actually have the bravery and the willingness to look into the dark, to see the
Yeah.
sides that nobody else is willing to face. There's like
Yeah.
a strength and a power behind Scorpio. And that power is what makes Scorpio so magnetic. And
Yes.
people are naturally drawn to a Scorpio because um there's a level of wisdom through experience. with
Yeah.
Scorpio. It may not be intellect and knowledge, but it's literally experience, intuition, or
Period.
just yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's like inner knowing, if you know what I mean.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that breakdown because yeah, Scorpio does get like a really bad rap and like even myself, I've always being a Scorpio ascendant, I've always experienced people either really liking me or not liking me.
Yeah.
And it's always very like this polarizing energy that I've always experienced from
Mm,
people. And as a kid, it would like, bother me because I was like, I don't understand this energy, But once I figured
yeah.
it out, I was like, oh, okay, I see. It's a lot for some people, and that's okay,
Yeah.
right? But there is this level of like being able to transmute our own stuff. And yeah, it's through experience. It's that wisdom that is gained
Yeah.
over and over again through death and rebirth, through these cycles, these natural cycles that we experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's so nice to hear that.
yeah, and Scorpio is a fixed modality as well. So it's also that energy of being like resistant. So if people around you maybe want you to change, or will want you to be this way, a Scorpio's gonna be like, no, I don't care if you leave me and I never see you again. Like I'm not like I've been through like every life experience I've been through has got me to who I am today, and I'm proud of that. And I don't care if like I have one friend or five friends. Like
Yes.
so there's that power and just natural strength within
Right.
us within a Scorpio of almost having standards and always sticking to those standards, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's also powerful that there's this filter that Scorpios have where they can
Yeah.
learn so easily and they can really like see people for who they are. And I think that's like a gift because, you don't want to be around the people that don't want to be around you, right? Like you want to
Yeah,
be around people
exactly.
that do accept you, do want to get to know you and stuff and do like genuinely love you, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big part. That's a big part. And we move on to
Yeah.
Sag because completely
Yes.
different. I
So
love it.
Sagittarius, fire and masculine polarity. And I love Sagittarius energy.
Me
Maybe just
too.
because it's my moon, but
You're like, I'm biased, but like, no, I love Sag energy too. Like, you guys
like
are great.
Sagittarius is literally that free spirit
Uh-huh.
that
A
like
nomad.
cannot deal with boredom, needs to always be on the move, loves change, like super adventurous.
Yeah.
Life is just one big adventure and there's supposed to be fun involved.
Yeah, you guys are so cute. I like genuinely love that about you guys. You just
Yeah, and it's
backpack
that
and you're like, I'm ready to have fun.
I know. And it's so like it's almost gypsy energy. There's philosophical side, it's the seeker. There is that aspect, like the higher aspect of Sagittarius that it goes beyond travel and adventure. That's more higher wisdom, knowledge, very expansive. So you've got
Yeah.
the optimistic side when Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter.
Yeah.
It's expansive, it's very like open-minded, like just very open to experiences. It's saying yes to experiences. It's wanting to break out of any cage, break out of boundaries. It's very difficult to place a Sagittarius strong archetype in maybe like a very strict 9 to 5 system or something that
Yeah.
keeps their routine
Terrible.
very repetitive because that Sagittarius energy needs freedom. Like it's all
Yeah.
about freedom. It's all about expansive like
Energy.
energies
Yes.
and opportunities. And
Yeah.
I really, really do love Sagittarius because that's level of risk-taking energy. It's like thrill seeking. They just
Yes.
thrive off spontaneity, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surrounded by Sagittarius energy. It's amazing. And it's like every time I just have an incredible time with you guys because I'm
Yeah.
Sagittarius if you want to go to a party.
I know, yeah. I really do love the Sagittarius as well. And it's probably like if I bring in a personal story. So
Yeah.
I'm
Totally.
a Leo sun,
Yeah.
Sagittarius moon, and Gemini rising. And my Sagittarius moon literally took me to 17 countries across the world solo at 20 years old.
Amazing. Amazing.
Like and the thing is that my life is just a repeated pattern of if I can do this, why wouldn't I? And a lot of people would be too scared to do certain things that I've done. Like I asked for skydiving at 18 years old.
Incredible.
I worked a year to save up to buy a nice van that I could live in to travel Australia solo, which went down the hill. I don't know why, but that van was probably cursed. But anyways,
But it
if
was
my
an
family listens
experience,
to this, they'll know. But and then when that didn't work, I was like, oh well. I just have to travel the world then. I'm going to Europe.
Oh my God, I love that. You're like, I'm going to New York City.
Yes, I went to North America, Europe. I literally on my own went to Arctic Norway on a
Incredible.
ferry to Lofoten Islands and watched the Northern Lights. And I was like, I'm just 20 years old. I live in Australia, but I'm all the way on the other side of the world. I'm not used to winter at all, but I was suiting myself up
Oh
and I
my
was taking videos
God.
and I just love the thrill and the excitement. I love surfing. I love skiing. I
Love
love
it.
you know,
I
I
love
I
it.
would jump out of a plane tomorrow if I could. I just love that. It's my emotional body.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm speaking really passionately
No, I
because
love
my
that.
my
It's
Mercury is also in Leo in the third house, so communication is really on fire for me.
yours. So, and you have a Leo Venus, right? Also,
I've got a lot of Leo, like
like
Sun,
it's just
Jupiter.
Leo.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
all in me.
God, Leo stellium. You have a straight up a stellium. That's crazy.
Yes, yeah. And it also plays into the fact that I guess I've always been seen in some way. When I was younger, I was a high level athlete in rhythmic gymnastics.
Wow.
So I would be in
Leo.
competitions on
Yeah.
stages. I would go to Melbourne 8 years in a row for national championships
Oh
in the
my God.
Hisense Arena. So it was such a huge part of my life. And then once I finished that, I just went straight on to starting up a YouTube channel, starting up an
Yeah.
Instagram page, getting
Yeah.
into social
Being
media
seen. Being
and
seen.
come,
Exactly.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just always been a repeating pattern for myself. So, and then what I do is I literally talk all the time.
No,
So
I like
Gemini
I
rising.
love this is exactly why I said I love Leo energy because you guys are just so authentic and so real and so you.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy. Like it's just it's so good. So good. Okay, so moving on to
Yeah.
energy, right? Capricorn?
Capricorn, yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Uh,
This
yeah, Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So this is the father of the zodiac.
yeah, they always say like daddy Capricorn, you know?
Yes, exactly. Um, and Capricorn's earth though, so
Sturdy.
there's that grounded and practical nature of Capricorn. But honestly, Capricorn's a great energy to have because there's that striving for success, striving for achievement. It's
Mhm.
the mountain goat. So what does a mountain goat do? It like climbs heights. So Capricorn archetype is all about setting goals,
Me.
not being afraid of how high that goal is going to be
Yeah, yeah.
and working towards it. There's diligence in a Capricorn, there's commitment, there's dedication. And it's that strictness that's the Saturn ruler that's making it almost forceful upon you.
Yes,
And the
yeah.
thing is that Capricorn can be a bit of a karmic energy because Saturn does slow things down. So
Yeah.
it almost means that you can maybe take a bit of time to get to those goals, but the energy of a Capricorn is very much methodical and going to
Yes.
work towards it and going
Yeah.
to stop at nothing until I achieve this. It's very
Yeah.
much climbing great heights in life. So
Right.
you get lots of CEOs, lots of business owners,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. That's similar to Aries energy when it's,
Yeah.
entrepreneurial and independent and stuff. But
For
Capricorn
sure.
is in a very committed way. It's a very like um earthly grounded approach to how
Yeah.
you progress in life. So it is wanting to seek positive reputation and a public status
Yeah.
as well.
It's like it does remind me of Leo in the sense that it does want recognition in a way. Like
Yeah.
it wants a
But the
different
thing
type
is
of
it's
recognition.
Yeah, it's not in a semi-selfish or semi like just boost my ego. It's not in that
Yeah.
sort of way. It's
Yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah.
way of like feeling accomplished and
Right.
feeling like, I worked for this and I worked hard and now I deserve to embellish in the fruits of my labor. It's very much that. It's a very authentic success that a Capricorn seeks.
Yes. Yes,
And maybe
exactly.
old money. Like if you're getting like old money vibes, Leo might be a little bit new money
New money.
vibe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But
If you want to
Capricorn's
put it
very
like
old
that, but
money. Yeah, for sure, for
that's
sure.
just the
Yeah.
energy that Capricorn gives. It gives very traditional.
Yes, very traditional, very
Yeah.
classy, elegant, like definitely, definitely that's
Yeah.
good. I always
And
say
there's a
also
level of
Capricorn,
wisdom.
exactly, exactly. I always say that Capricorn and Scorpio are very similar in terms of power, but like Scorpio's more
Mm.
psychological power. Like
Yeah.
Scorpios want psychological power. They want to be
Manipulation.
yeah,
Yeah.
dark manipulation. They want to be able to like know all the dark secrets and get
Yeah.
ahead in that way because Scorpios are very strategic, but Capricorn's
Mm.
strategic and methodical, like in a different
Yeah.
way. But yeah, it's interesting how they're both very powerful. One's like underworld powerful, the other one is like physical material world powerful.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
fascinating. So the next one's Aquarius.
I love Aquarius.
My moon sign. And your Mars, right? I
My
love
Mars. How do you remember my chart this well?
it's
I've never even, what
crazy.
the hell? I've never even sent it to you and you remember it so well.
I love like I all my friends say like I have like the brain of an elephant. They're like, how do you remember our stuff?
No, I'm freaking out. I didn't even think I told you my Mars.
You told me your Mars last time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, no way, I have Aquarius Venus.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so yes, Aquarius is such an amazing energy because it's the type of energy that usually we would need in this reality, unless it's like the alternative
Yeah.
Aquarius, which can go on like the kind of transhumanism and AI type of
Yeah,
side.
yeah, robotic. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can see as we're going into the Aquarian age, we're kind of seeing that dark side come through. But on the like very, if we went in a bit of a corrupt society and that didn't even exist, then Aquarius is the archetype of being so like unique, authentic.
Yeah.
It's it's truth, knowledge, it's like a rebellious energy because it's that uniqueness where I'm the black sheep and I own it. I don't care if
Yes.
I don't fit in. I don't even want to fit in. If I don't like the society, I'm going to create
Not
my
fitting
own
in.
society.
Exactly.
It does it does rule the 11th house of community and networking. So it's very much humanitarian effort. It's very much gathering, networking, but it's going to be through a unique and maybe even like weird or just unconventional or controversial way. There's that level of Aquarius that is so eccentric, so freedom seeking. It's
Yes.
individual, it's unique,
Yes.
it's holding your truth and standing within that.
Hmm.
So
And
that's
it's
the kind of
fixed.
energy.
Yeah, and it's fixed, so
Fixed as
we're very
well.
much like like I know what I believe in and I'm going to hold true to that, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of integrity with Aquarius, I feel.
Yes, yeah. So it's definitely not abiding by rules and laws and anything that the Aquarius doesn't agree with.
Right.
It's literally rebellion. So
Yeah.
you can get revolutions. So that's why they say when Pluto actually goes into Aquarius, which by the way, it's not right now, it's in
2040.
Capricorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
2040, when it gets there, that's going to be when maybe historical like times of great revolutions will actually repeat.
Right. Wow, that's
Because
gonna be
Pluto is a
mhm.
very transformative, destructive, and powerful planet.
Yeah.
And so it can also prepare us that possibly we're in the stage of destruction of like the current systems because
Yeah.
Capricorn is very much government,
Structure. Yeah.
hierarchy, structure. And
Hmm.
so that could be where Pluto's currently doing its work. And
Right.
then maybe by the time that it transitions into Aquarius, hopefully that's when like humanity stands up for itself. That's when the power is in the people. And that's
Yeah.
when the truth is a kind of getting their moment. Truth's coming to the light.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's where it's
I
going to
do
be
feel like we're
very,
getting there slowly but surely. I do feel like we're
yeah.
getting there. But yeah, I don't feel like Pluto's in Aquarius right now. Like that doesn't resonate, you know?
Well,
I'm
it's a good
still
thing. It's a good thing that it's actually not because it shouldn't be because not with Pluto and Aquarius is not it's not looking like that in the world right now.
right. I'm just kind of like, with this is Pluto in Aquarius, I'm sad
Yeah, no. So
and
it's a good thing that
disappointed.
it's actually not because I think we've still got a long run of Pluto and Capricorn to go. And hopefully within that time, Pluto's kind of going to bulldoze a bit of the government systems and, ch make some big changes.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
by the time that it's in Aquarius, things are going to start like ramping up within society and the people are
Yeah.
going to start getting their voice back.
Finally, like I'm waiting for
Yeah.
that. We're holding on
Yeah.
to that for sure. Okay, so the
Yeah.
last and final sign we have Pisces. Aw, Pisces is so
I love
sweet.
Pisces.
I
Yeah.
know.
Transcendent, spiritual.
Mystical. Yeah, mystical.
Yes, ruled by Jupiter and it's water. I use all traditional rulerships if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, yeah, I like figured. I was just like, yeah, she didn't say Scorpio's ruled by Pluto, so
No, the generational planets have their place
yes,
elsewhere.
yes, totally. Yes,
Because
yes, I love
it
that.
just matches up where Cancer and Leo ruled by the sun and moon, and then
Right.
every other zodiac has
Their
a
own.
planet ruling two zodiacs.
Yeah.
So it works perfectly. So why would you chuck in some having,
Yeah, I
no, let's
always
not
like
mix it up.
wondered why is Scorpio ruled by two? Why is Aquarius ruled by two? You know what I mean? It just
Yeah, exactly.
never made sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. So I still use obviously the outer planets,
The
but
traditional, yeah.
just in aspects to classical
Yes, yes,
planets. Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So Pisces. such a beautiful energy. We're
Yeah.
talking about compassionate, unconditional love,
Yeah.
romance, seeing the light in people, like wearing rose-colored glasses, very idealistic
Delusional
dream.
at times.
Yeah, creative. Then yeah, you do have the like the escapist kind
Yes.
of because you're so detached from the material reality. Like you're
Yes.
always in the clouds dreaming. This is like, writing books,
Yeah.
creating
Art.
in imagination, art. Yeah. It's very much like pouring love into things. It's purpose, passion.
Right.
Pisces prominent energies, like the archetype that you need to be doing what you love. You need to be doing what you're passionate about, especially if it's in the sixth house. And
Yeah.
so it's really that super spiritually connected, very unconscious awareness.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's really, really beautiful.
So yeah, I love Pisces too. It's just so like it's like a teddy bear, you know? Like
Yeah.
so cute and so sweet and innocent. But
Yeah, because
obviously there's
it
the shadow to everything. But yeah, Pisces is
well,
great.
especially when it rules the 12th house, because the Pisces is the abyss.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the depths of the ocean.
Mhm.
And there can be a level of like sensitivity to
Right.
Pisces because they're like the type of energy that is the typical, if you go outside, it's going to absorb all the negative energy almost and need to cleanse it.
Yeah.
Because it's highly intuitive, highly like it's like psychic because that's what you
Right.
find in the 12th house quite a bit.
Hmm.
And just, yeah, there's that level of just dreaminess. And because the 12th house is very much transcendent spirituality, it's
Yeah.
kind of very detached from material reality. It's very psychological or
Right.
very like mental and just a spiritual aspect.
Yeah. Another dimension. That's what the 12th house feels like, you know?
Yeah, it feels like
Not
another
from here.
dimension. It feels like the after death phase of life.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a very unknown house. Like it's not
Yes,
really
hidden.
like it's hidden. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's conscious, like past life, right? All that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
100%.
interesting. Oh my gosh, my love, this was so amazing. Like I literally could talk to you all day, and I probably
I
will.
don't even know how long it's been.
I know, just like time has gone by, and I don't know. I really don't even know. But that was such a good breakdown. I feel like we talked about so many amazing things, like
We
what
did.
astrology even like means, how to even use it to rise above. And
Yeah.
yeah, for anyone that's like listening to this, like, get your chart reading. Get Emily to do your chart reading because this is golden information. And if you're missing out, you're not really gonna transcend certain things. You're like, why not know about yourself, right? Like, why not take that chance to learn about yourself and go headfirst into the unknown? Yes, that is a Scorpio rising telling you that. So I don't know if that counts.
Yes.
Still, get your chart reading.
Thank you very much, Yasmin. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
If you want
course.
to find me, my website's shereadsthestars.com and my Instagram is also at shereadsthestars and YouTube is at Amelie Jalera, my name.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so much,
Emily.
Yasmin, and thank you everyone else.
Yes, and we'll definitely chat again very soon.
Definitely.
Bye.
Bye.